Okay, everybody, welcome to the weekly Inside Real Estate Tactics webinar. I'm here copying the link so I can chat it to you guys. Let me do that real quick. Somebody let me know you can hear me so I can reply with the link. There we go. Thanks, Sarah. So let's send the link out. And as you can see on the screen, once I hit show screen, there we go. All right. What we're going to do today is interesting. It's Bing pay-per-click. And we've kind of like circled the wagons with Twitter, Snapchat. We've done Google. We've done Facebook. Hit all the major channels, but we kind of, just as is the nature of Bing just kind of gets overlooked and we've forgotten all about it until today. And I have a special guest, a good friend of mine who does a lot of Google and Bing pay-per-click. I know he knows Bing inside and out. I've probably logged into Bing 2 or 3 times myself, so he's going to help me out. Ben, you can hear me, right?
I can. What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday.
Good. So, Ben, I'm going to run through a few bullet points, but I'm going to let you fill in. So I have here why Bing, and the notes that I came up with, there's less, but still lots of people searching. It's something like 3% of all searches happen on Bing, where it's 90% for Google.
Yeah, that's probably not too far off.
Yeah, but you know firsthand, it's still a lot of volume, right?
Yeah, we've run campaigns where Bing traffic is very similar to the amount of traffic you get on Google for your budget, and usually often at a lower cost.
So that's the key thing there. Most of us on this call are not out there trying to spend $10,000 a day. So if your budget's down in the $10 to $50 a day range, that difference doesn't really matter, right?
That's right.
Cool. And then the other note I had was biz owners try Google first. And I know I just forget about Bing. Most people just get a Google campaign live and they forget about the other one.
This is true. Yeah. And we've had, we're going to show an account just to kind of walk through the Bing interface a little bit. And this is actually an account that we ran for a client. And they told us, what we like to do is run campaigns on Google, Bing, Facebook, and 30 days in, 60 days in, get some feedback, because we can get leads on all 3 channels. But then we'll get back with the client 30, 60 days in and say, hey, where are you having the most conversations? One of Ryan's favorite words. And this particular client said, shut everything off. I want only leads from Bing, because the quality was really, really good. And that was like his market was waterfront property on the Atlantic coast in Florida.
Okay, so it was a real estate example.
That's right. That's right.
Cool. So I'll just, I have some bullet points, things I want to cover, but I'm just going to let you show the dashboard. This will be a little different than our usual format today, guys, but I'm just going to let Ben just kind of dig in and show us around.
Yeah,
so what
cool.
do I do here? I need to give you, I'm going to change presenter. I'm going to give it to you. You should see something pop up, and then the screen will switch over to Ben.
Very cool. Okay, so it looks like I'm sharing my screen here.
Yep.
Awesome. So this is a Bing account. Now it's very similar to AdWords in terms of the structure of the account. So now folks might get a little disoriented though, because I'm hopping back and forth between Google and Bing. I just kind of want to show some of the differences there. And so Google recently, I don't know if you guys talked about this, Ryan, but Google recently redid their entire ad account interface. So this is what it looks like now. The old AdWords interface is very similar to what you're going to see on Bing. And so this is Bing right here. When you set up an account, it's a little bit different, because you have to set up, so kind of just going from 101, like you have to go create a new Microsoft account. If people want to try this or get started, the best thing to do is just go to bingads.com, and I'm already logged in, so it's just taking me to my accounts there. But you got to go to bingads.com, sign up like you would with a Google account, and enter all your billing information, your business information, and then you're off to the races. If you already have a Google AdWords account, that's good, because the way Bing works is similar, and they have a really, really cool feature that allows you to import your campaign that already exists on Google. So that's what we typically do is we'll build a campaign out one time on Google, and if it's a decent campaign, we like the way it's performing, or if it's, you know, if it's structured the way we want it, usually would be, then we'll just go open a Bing account and we'll go right ahead and import the campaign from Google so that we don't have to do everything from scratch again. A lot of people don't know that trick, but
Yeah.
super easy to just go open a Bing account, import your Google campaign, and you can be up and running within an hour.
How do we import?
So let's go through imports. So
All right,
let's say
before you start, I just
account.
want to let everybody know, because we've encountered this on these episodes. For some reason, Google AdWords likes to crash GoToWebinar, the new interface. So if things jam up and you can't hear Ben, just be patient, and we'll be patient with you too, Ben. If that happens to you, that's what's going on.
Sounds great, man. Sounds great.
All right.
So yeah, hopefully we'll keep this from being too technical or too dry, but it's super easy. Once you open your Bing account, you just you'll be at this screen. There won't be any campaigns or anything. You're just gonna click import campaigns up here, import from Google AdWords, and I'm curious to see if this will even work the right way since the new AdWords interface came out. So you're gonna have to sign into Google directly from that Bing interface, which is cool. And it's going to load all of your different accounts. So there's the one that I want to pull in. You're just going to choose the account right here. Click continue. And then you can import, let's say you've got a really robust AdWords account, you can import everything, or you can only import like one specific campaign. So I'll just do one campaign. We'll click continue. You just walk through the steps here. So you can import, they've got, I don't even look at all these usually. You've got account level URL options, all this stuff I don't even really look at. It's usually got the defaults selected the way that they need to be.
Yeah.
But you can read through these if you're concerned about what you're importing. But I'm just go ahead and click continue. And then boom, you just click, you can schedule it in the future, or you can just do it right away and then click import. And now it's going to pull the entire campaign into Bing. It's super quick and easy.
Cool. So yeah, so the assumption is most of us have Google AdWords going already, and then we just take what's working in there and pull it over.
That's right. That's right. This used to not be available, and people used to, people like us would not like when we had to create campaigns on Bing because there would, you have to sit there for a couple hours and build everything out. But once they came out with that feature, I started advertising on Bing quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then you get this nice little summary. It tells you all the elements that came over from the Google campaign and the status of things. And then boom, you can view your imported campaign. And it's going to be right there.
Great, even with the budgets and everything.
Yeah, the budgets will carry over. You can look at the campaign settings. I think that's, yeah. So the tabs are going to be very similar. You would see.
Did it pull in it pulled in all the history from Google too?
No, so let's clarify that. So this campaign actually, this is a campaign that ran before.
Okay.
This already has data. So basically all it did was, like it didn't even really do anything because I'd already imported this months ago.
Right.
So yeah, like the data, the spend data and all that is not going to be there, but it'll pull in your campaign budget and all the other settings. So if I click into there and I go to settings, all this stuff is going to match Google for the most part. There might be a couple things I would recommend, like whenever we do this, we do go through and check all of our settings because there might be a couple things that aren't compatible. Usually it'll tell you that, like if you had an error or something, it'll let you know. But I definitely I recommend people go through and look at the settings. Don't just turn your campaign on assuming that it's all the same. It should be, but you want to double check.
Awesome. So there's a lot of options there. I'm seeing something really cool, that bid adjustment by location. I've never noticed that in Google. I'm sure you can do it, but
That's true. Yeah. So that's a feature. You know, Bing always ends up copying Google. I think most people know that, but the Bing ads interface is often 3 to 6 months behind Google. They just copy everything. It's hilarious,
well,
including.
yeah. All right. So I think it would be helpful for me and everybody watching. We did the same thing when we did AdWords, and I did it. I have my own kind of way of running an AdWords campaign. I'm really curious to watch you, run a straight up real estate, website campaign in Bing if you're okay with doing that from
Yeah.
scratch.
Well, right now, sure. Yeah, we can create one from scratch here. Again, I don't necessarily do that in Bing anymore because we can just import from Google,
Right.
and it's definitely a lot more. I just recommend like people build your stuff in Google because it's way easier to kind of create a campaign. Um, I do want to show before we do that, if it's cool with you,
Yeah.
I want to show people how to do the conversion tracking because that's something
Yes.
that you'll want to do with Bing. That's going to be a little bit different. So what you'll do is, I think you're going to open this little slide out bar, and you're going to go to shared library. No, that's not true. You're going to go to conversion tracking. Sometimes you got to just click around. But under conversion tracking, this is kind of similar to Google Analytics and Google AdWords, but what you want to do is create this thing called this UET tag. So you go to this UET tags page under conversion tracking, and this is real simple. You just click the green button, walk through it, and you're going to install this tag on your website or whatever pages you're running traffic to.
Hmm.
And that basically lets Bing, do its reporting on. You see right here, we've got like a conversion goal set up, but you need to get this tag created. I just usually call it Bing UET tag. And then you could save it, and then this is the code that you would place on your web pages.
Yep. So I'll cut in here. We do this almost every week, Ben, where at least the last few weeks. So Conversion Plus users, you're going to just email it to support. There's actually a link in the navigation. You can send a snippet over. If you're on KV Core, you have the ability to self-serve do this under the website section. Right, and it's called conversion tracking, I believe, right in there.
Conversion tracking, yep, UET tags. And then once that UET tag is installed on your site, it'll start like talking to Bing, I guess. And the other thing you want to do is once you have that tag installed, you go to conversion goals here, and you can create a conversion action just like you would with Google. And it's basically based on that tag. So you can say, okay, if anybody hits my thank you page or a certain page of your website that you wanna record a conversion goal
Yeah,
for, boom, you just set it up right here, and then you get your data in the
I love.
campaign.
I'm seeing something different. You can actually do it by pages viewed.
That's right.
And maybe I've never noticed that in Google, but on Conversion Plus right now, you're not able to drop a pixel on the conversion action. So it might actually be useful to use either duration or pages viewed per visit. On Core, you can pop. You can drop the pixel. Can you drop the pixel direct, Ben? That's my question.
Well, you get that snippet, you can paste it anywhere you want.
Right, but I mean to measure the conversion itself. The way that KV Core works is you can drop a pixel in. You know how Google gives you a little tag to put in
Yep.
specifically for the conversion? It looks like Bing doesn't have that, so you're going to have to get a little creative and do it based on URL, which conversion isn't giving us. So
Gotcha.
actually, I'm sorry, guys, to go in a circle here on you, Ben, but I'm trying to just work this problem in my head. Actually, we could do this by destination URL, right? Because whatever campaign you're running, you know that after somebody opts in, they're going to land somewhere. For the most part.
If you can get if you get somebody to a unique URL, then that's definitely the way to to set this conversion goal up.
Okay.
So if a lead, you and I both know, it's like if you fill out a form on something and it takes you to like a unique thank you page or success page, that's where that URL is what you would want to use here for the conversion goal. I think you and I know that for sure. It gets a little tricky sometimes with real estate websites where you're registering on the site, but you're not getting taken to a thank you page. It's just like a little pop-up box, and you stay on that same page. But anyway, that's maybe another topic.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. We've
There's
talked
still
about
ways
that
to
too,
do
about
it.
setting specific thank you pages. It's a little confusing, Ben, because with Core and Conversion Plus, there's different ways that we're generating leads. We can use the landing pages themselves and control the destination URL somebody goes to after, or we can use the native pop-up that the systems give us, and that's where it gets a tad bit tricky. But
Mhm.
I think just kind of talking about the options, most of the people operating here at this level will be able to figure it out. And feel free to reach out to me, if you need help.
Awesome.
So,
So
and then
yeah,
what
basically,
happens when you click next?
wait, say that again.
So when you click next on that last screen, that's where you would set the URL that they're landing on, right?
That's right. Yeah, let me go back in there. So
Okay.
create conversion goal. Let's just call it website registration. Destination URL, click next, and then you can choose
Got it.
some of these different options. And then you just drop your web page URL right in there.
Yeah.
You can assign a value if you're like, yeah, each lead is worth $5 to me, or if you don't know, you just leave it, don't assign a value, leave it blank. The count here, for me, I like to choose unique, because you might have somebody go to your website. Let's say someone clicks on a Bing ad, goes to your website, registers, signs out, and then maybe comes back later and registers again. Well, for that one person, I think you only want to count them as one lead. So you would choose unique instead of leaving it at all, because if you leave it at all, it'll count them as 2 conversions, whereas you only really want that one. This is probably like more granular than people even need to see, but the other thing too, though, this is definitely a good one to know. Conversion window, I like to bump that as high as it'll go. So if somebody clicks on your Bing ad, comes to your website, doesn't do anything, leaves, comes back the next day, and then registers, well, you'll get credit for that to the right keyword, the right campaign. And so that window can go up to 90 days. So I like to max
Cool.
that out to give credit back to the right keyword that initially brought that person in.
And this is important because a lot of us are doing retargeting. So this is important.
Definitely,
Um,
definitely.
Alicia's
Yeah, and that's
asking, she's
that's it.
saying you guys are trying to confuse us, right? And
Yeah,
we are geeking out a little bit on the conversion stuff, but it's just because it's very critical to get it right so you know where your money's going. This is
yeah.
probably the hardest part. Yeah.
This is Chinese, but when you set it up every day, it makes sense.
Yeah. So
um,
you can go back later and watch. The rest of it's pretty simple, right, Ben? The actual creation of an ad and things like that.
that's right. Yeah. So let's get to the fun stuff. Like once you actually open your account, if you want to create a campaign right in Bing, it's really easy. It's just like Google. But you click this green create campaign button on your campaigns tab, and it'll just walk you through. So you can choose some different options here. What's the goal of the campaign? Visits to my website, visits to my business, location, conversions to my website. I think for the purposes of this, we'd either choose visits to my website or conversions in my website. I'm just going to choose the
Yeah.
first one, make it
Yeah,
simple.
I would vote the visits, because that does allow us on the conversion tracking side to actually set build squeeze links inside of the platform, um,
Okay,
and use the native tracking of the core and conversion plus too.
there you go. So you just walk through the steps
What
here. Your campaign budget, you pick whatever works.
what
Um,
are you finding for budgets? Because you have a number of clients, um, what's a good rule of thumb to start? Should you start high or should you start where you want to be long term?
I think most people are going to get a cost per lead somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 to $15, depending on their
Okay.
market thing. So You could even say like 10 to 20 just to call it safe. So let's say you wanted to get a lead per day. You really ought to have a $10 a day budget. If you want to get 2 leads per day, $20, 15 to $20, you'd probably be safe.
Okay.
You choose your locations. And so they give you a map again, similar to Google. We could do like, I don't know, St. Pete, Florida. I'm not sure I trust like Bing's map. Bing's location targeting can sometimes get a little bit, I don't know, buggy. It's not as clean as Google, so I'll say that. But it still works. So you can choose St. Pete, Florida, 25, and then you can choose stuff down here. So who should see your ads, people in your locations, people searching for or viewing pages about your targeted locations. That's an interesting one because I think depending on the market you're in, like is the majority of your potential clients going to be already located in your area, or are they going to be more from out of the area? And for you, Ryan, like in St. Pete, it's probably going to be folks. It's going to be a mix, right?
Yeah.
You get a lot of people in Florida, at least, coming from out of state
Elsewhere.
or out of the region.
Yep.
See, we'll keep going here. Do you have an example site, Ryan?
You can just do, for now, just keep simple. Just do ryanhartman.exprealty.com. But everybody, what we would normally do, I don't have control of the screen. What you would normally do is run a search for the kind of campaign. So one of my favorite places to go is condos or land. So I would run a search for condos either at the front end of my site or in the back end dashboard. I'd create a squeeze link that shows all the condos in the target area. So we've done that a handful of times on these sessions. I'm going to leave that since Ben has control of the screen, unless you want to run the search, Ben.
Yeah, we can do that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, do it.
So let's do.
You can do all of Pinellas if you want, because it's hard to pick up St. Pete.
So we'd like Pinellas condos. Let's do that.
Yep.
Minimum price maybe 150, 200.
Yeah, I usually do the whole range and then I put the price range in my ad, but you have different, you do it a little bit differently. So whatever you do, show us.
I just copy you, Ryan. So.
All right. Yeah, only thing I like to do sometimes is sort from low to high on the right side, but it's not that critical. I usually like to sort both ways and see which of the first properties seem more intriguing.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, $20,000 condo, that might pull somebody into my search a little more and get them to register, is the thinking there. So I might use this link. So you can paste the link at the top in the browser, Ben, and use that.
Cool. That's right. So I guess we would just plug that in right there. Okay, we can name our ad group St. Pete Condos. And for the keywords, they have some suggestions here. I'm not really loving what we're seeing.
Yeah, me either. I usually, I don't know what you do, but I usually just go ahead and write St. Pete condos and all the different variations I could think of for an exact match to start.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I'm going through. I'm tabbing through their keyword results here.
If you typed it in the product or service box instead of the URL, I bet it would pull it up. You might have to get rid of the top one.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's St. Pete Beach condos a little bit down, so we're getting closer.
Yeah. So there's some okay keywords here. I wonder if let's try this. Let's just see if it's letting me like click on that. Look at that.
Yeah. That's it. So that's usually what I do manually. That was cool that it just gave you all those variations right there.
That's phenomenal.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so that's neat. I didn't even know that you could do that. Um, but those all look pretty decent for an
Yeah,
initial.
and you'll get in most markets on the condo search, you'll get pretty good volume on that.
Yeah.
So
So okay, so let's keep going then. Save and go to the next step.
that's our keywords, everybody. We're kind of skipping, Ben, because we do this all the time. So what we just did was we chose the keywords that people are going to be searching on Bing in order to find our ad.
Yep. And let's see. So the next step they want us to do is create the ad. So that final URL will be the
Yep.
the filtered web page that we grabbed from your site with the St. Pete condos.
Yep.
And I forget, was that HTTPS? Yes, that was a secure HTTPS site page. So you just do this like St. Pete condos for sale. I don't know. We could probably do a much better headline than that. I like
Yeah.
to. You like to do this. You like to talk about the number of results there. So
Yep.
see over. That's crazy. And then you can mess around with this part here, this path. This is just like Google. It's basically a copy. It's a clone of it. So you could do ryanhartman.exprealty.com / St. Pete condos. Even
Cool.
that actually fit. That's
And
cool.
you're reiterating what the main keywords are so that it seems more relevant to them when you're doing that. That's why I let you do that, right?
Pretty much, yeah. You want to. It's message match. You know what whatever keyword search they did, you want to mirror in the ad, and you want to mirror that same exact message or result right on that landing page.
Yeah.
Probably 101 that you already teach in this group. So ad text, again, we could say, this isn't secret sauce or anything here, but St. Pete
My
condo.
favorite is to give a price range. I just the more numbers in the ad seem to be the better. But
What was that price range? So we had
yeah, so
from
like price from
20,000.
20,000 to 4 million plus, I think was the high range. Yeah. And just that 20K is going to get the click. That's, pick the lowest price listing in any search set, and it's going to be intriguing to people usually.
Yeah, I mean that works, I think, just for the purposes of this column.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and click. And then so you can do these other things called ad extensions. I don't know if you guys have done this with with any Google ads that you've created before, but I'll probably skip these for now.
Yeah, skip them. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear your opinion. My opinion is it just confuses things and it dilutes my tracking. But like I would rather just have the direct click to the website, not distract with other actions. But that's heresy if you
Well,
talk to a Google
here's
or
the
Bing rep.
difference. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. And so here's the difference between so this everything above the fold here. So like from the bottom of the page up is an ad. There's 1, 2, 3. This is an ad that's tricked out with all the extensions.
Right.
So that's the difference. I mean, you get the more extensions you can get to show, the more real estate, no pun intended, you're going to be able to have on Google or Bing. And I like to show the Hertz example because they really, it's a branded ad. They're able to capture a lot of space here. The ad without all the extensions is basically just going to be that I've highlighted
Right.
there. So, I tell people, like, if you can do the extensions, do them. I mean, they don't hurt anything. They basically just give you more space on the page.
I think I might do a separate video, Ben, but I think that the best thing there would be to do like the condo ad and then just make sure that every extension drives to something that can convert. Instead of like, you don't want to drive people to your About Us page.
That's right. Yeah, you want to give them relevant content. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, here's one like Redfin. With a non-branded keyword search, what we just looked at with Hertz was a branded keyword search. It's their own name. But with this kind of thing where it's a little more competitive, you're not going to see as many ad extensions showing up for any advertiser. But if you're able to get them to show, again, it's just you're taking up more space on the page. You're increasing your chances of getting that click.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah. Let's see, where were we at? So yeah, that's my take on extensions. Do them if you can. It takes time and it's a pain in the butt, but you can add your phone number, you can add your business location. If you've got third-party mentions or reviews in like a magazine or local newspaper or something, you can feature that.
Okay.
So all right, so save and go to the next step. You can set a bid for your ad group. I think $1 probably works. And this is cool. They're giving you like the estimated monthly clicks, impressions, spend, average
Did they
position.
pick the dollar or did they set that by default?
It looks like it
Is that
just
is
was
that a
in there.
suggestion?
Looks like it was in there by default.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually guys, I know on Google we're usually between $1 and $3 a click. I don't know for real estate stuff. On Bing, what should we expect? Is it going to be like 20% cheaper? Is there a rule of thumb?
You're not going to know. It varies. I've seen Bing campaigns be 20% the cost of Google. I've seen Bing campaigns be double the cost of Google. It's all based on the competitors. What I like to do though is this is something that's often overlooked when people do Bing ads is this bid strategy. So if you got a budget of $10 a day and you're bidding $1, you're thinking, okay, maybe I'll get 10 clicks for that. Well, I love this little feature here. You can just change it to maximize clicks. And so
Okay.
what you're doing, you're letting Bing like squeeze as many clicks for the keywords that you've chosen and the $10 a day budget, you're letting Bing like squeeze as many clicks as it can out of all those, the $10 a day.
Cool. Dennis just brought up a really great point, and we were talking about those snippets, and he said, how about ad extensions for St. Pete condo foreclosure deals? And I really like the idea of taking a set of a certain type of properties and then doing extensions, different searches related to that. So foreclosure deals, high-end condos, low-end condos, fixer-upper condos might be just a riff you can do. But
That's
yeah,
actually
Dennis, thanks. That's
that's
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah, that's really good. Worth the cost of admission today, Dennis. Thank you.
Definitely. Great point there. Um, that's pretty much it. I mean, you could change
Yeah.
some other settings here, like let's say you wanted to only run on mobile devices, or let's click on device. Check this out. So once you launch the Bing campaign, you get these bid adjusters again for the devices that the ads are showing on. So if your performance looks better on people on a phone or a desktop device, you can increase what you spend or decrease what you spend on any one of these devices here. And the performance will vary greatly. So people should be aware of that. Like pay attention to how your ad performs on those different devices, because you can, basically get way more for your budget if you spend it on devices where people are converting better.
Yeah, that's one of the first places I go optimizing Google actually on very, and it always works to cut one or the other out between desktop
Totally.
and mobile.
It's
Yeah,
just it's a layup if you just pay attention to your data.
yeah.
So we'll
Okay,
go ahead and
so
save
that's
that. I mean,
yeah,
that's it.
great.
That is pretty
So
much it.
so this is guys, this will get you 90% of the way there if you just want more traffic from Bing and split test against Google. Exactly what Ben just did will get you there. Do condos, land. You can try specific school districts, but the more niche you can go on the search is probably the only tip I can bring, and just follow that same process.
That's right.
Um,
Bing is a clone of Google. If you have a great Google campaign, don't go through all that setup we just did. Just import it from Google. Make sure you're tracking your conversions. Make sure your settings look good, and turn it on. And you'll go see, like, you do some of these searches on Bing, and you'll notice like the competition is often like way easier because like just so few people are doing it. It's all you're seeing up here right now is like Redfin, Zillow, Realtor, all the big platforms. So as a local agent, you could just kind of sneak in there and I feel like they do favor the local advertisers over some of the bigger ones. So it's a really
Okay.
great place to get a lot of, good traffic. And you could spend, most agents, in my opinion, could absolutely spend their whole budget on Bing. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts about the nature psychologically? And I have some assumptions of the person searching on Bing versus the person searching on Google. Is there a
Yeah, so
sophistication difference?
the difference is that Bing is often an older demographic or
Okay.
like a younger demographic. The in-betweeners, like the people from like maybe the 25 to 45 age range or even 55 are most of the time we're on Google. But Bing, I think they've done some studies. They know it's an older crowd where it's like default they're using Internet Explorer still, and they're just typing in their browser search, and it's coming up with Bing results. Well, what does that mean? Well, the older crowd probably has more money than the younger crowd, which is why
Yeah.
they're a better lead.
We might also do better with. I'm thinking I'm going to go run some reverse mortgage ads, but downsizing, things of that nature may play well. Um,
For sure.
yeah. Okay.
For sure.
I just had a few more questions for you uh, that I had on the dock here. Does Bing have a display network?
They used to.
Okay.
They really don't at this point. As
Okay.
far as I think they just got rid of that probably within the last
Good. We don't
year.
have to worry about it.
Don't have to worry about it.
And then remarketing, um, it's gonna work the same, similar to Google, right? Where you can build audiences. Um,
Uh,
I just
yes. So remarketing with Bing you can do. If let's say you just have to build the audience. So you have to do that tag on throughout your website, and
right.
then basically what you do is just apply that. You can apply that audience to your keyword campaign. So you're only able to do it through search with your keyword campaigns, but you could layer in a retargeting audience so that you're only showing ads to people that have already been to your website.
Yeah. So if you're getting people off Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Google, you have your Bing Pixel installed. You can start to show your ads to those same people and seem like you're everywhere if you want. And I
Exactly.
assume that's on the shared library, right? Where you build the audiences.
Yeah, we can show that real quick. So shared library, you go to, let's see, audiences, create
Okay.
remarketing list. And if this is the same setup as you would see in Google,
Yeah.
you could say like all visitors, last 180 days.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. I
It's
think it's a little less relevant here. I prefer to remarket with like YouTube video and Google Display.
mm-hmm.
You know,
I agree.
you
Yeah,
know,
like
like
just kind of the volume's not going to be there with
right,
Bing just on search. So like
right.
we don't do this typically, just to give you just to be straight up about that.
Yeah, this is a little next level. Most of us don't need to worry. I do think it makes a lot of sense though to remarket again Facebook and Google, just because of the volume. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, but if you're looking
cool.
for like extra keyword traffic to pull in more cold audiences that you're not getting on Google or Zillow or somewhere else now, I mean, Bing is where it's at. We've gotten some really, really good feedback from clients on the lead quality as well.
Cool. All right. Well, Ben, I think, does anybody have any questions? I just really wanted to get Bing in here. I've learned a lot, specifically that tip about importing campaigns is a huge time saver. We know that we can probably get leads a little cheaper, at least get a little more volume, possibly totally replace Google because we might see a cheaper cost per lead across the board, right? Let me take back control.
Kicking it back to you there.
Yeah. And if there are no other questions, I'll just mention we have our in-house ad services. I don't even know that we offer Bing, and I don't think that the people at Inside would mind me saying too much. Ben, you're more of like a big account guy, right? You have some very large spend accounts,
Yeah.
and Ben's. I would say that what you showed today is almost anybody can do. But if you're talking big budgets and really need to optimize and make sure you're not wasting money, is it fair for me to say you're a good guy for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Our team specializes with people that usually are spending, I mean, we have some clients that are spending 500, 750 a month, but if folks out there are spending, a few $1,000 a month and really want like hands-on day-to-day management, that's what we do.
Yeah, yeah. So, you bigger teams who spend a lot of money, I consult Ben when I want to make sure that I'm not wasting the money of people who are hiring me to do this stuff. So just to give you an idea. So and I know you do audits and things like that too, right? Just to kind of give a quick
Ab-
report and let somebody know where they're at.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Ben, thanks a lot, man, for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And yep, and it looks like there are no other questions. Felicia says this was awesome. I'm looking forward to pulling the trigger. And that's it. Thank you for the participation. Thanks for the great tip, Dennis. And we'll see everybody next Tuesday. See you later.